Did you notice the iron town, Tataraba, has no children? Hi everyone. Today's video is about Princess Mononoke, especially I focus on Tataraba, which is dubbed as Iron Town in the English version. Let's start with a brief synopsis of Princess Mononoke. Ashitaka, the main character, lived in a place called Eboshi's village. One day, his village is attacked, and his arm is cursed by a god named Tatara-ba. Receiving the curse of death, Ashitaka sets out on a journey to break it. Along the way, Ashitaka finds Tataraba. The village is led by the woman Eboshi, who is well liked by the villagers there. The first trivia: what is Tataraba? The name Tataraba comes from Old Japanese, and it means steel mill. As Japan entered the modern age, its iron-making technology developed, and the old-fashioned steel mill seen in the film became obsolete and started to disappear. However, before World War II, these steel mills were indispensable for the production of iron. In the scene where the women of Tataraba are working hard to make iron, we can see the women stepping on something like a plank, and Ashitaka joins to help them. They are also making cannons called stone fire arrows. These weapons are used to protect the village from the beasts in the mountains and from the samurai looking to take the iron from Tataraba. However, for the people to make the arrows, they have to destroy the rivers, mountains, and forests. Since the stone fire arrows are also used to fight the beasts in the mountain, it led to the creation of the cursed god, Tatara-ba. The origin of Tataraba. The inspiration for Tataraba is Sugaya Tatara, which is at Shirmane Prefecture in Japan. It is the last remaining Tatara iron-making facility in Japan and is registered as a heritage site. In historical Japan, many trees were often cut down for steelmaking, and people in the present considered this practice as a cause of modern environmental problems. The scene where Lady Eboshi destroyed the forest and gave birth to Tatara-ba is a reference to that problem. The destruction of nature for the development of Japan and the story of Princess Mononoke share this parallel. Currently, Sugaya Tatara is designated as an important folk cultural property in Japan. If you have a chance, please visit the place. You might experience the world of Princess Mononoke. People wrapped with linen bandages. In Tataraba, there is a place called Eboshi's garden. It's isolated from the other villagers, and the people there have their whole bodies wrapped with bandages. Some of them are seriously ill and can't even get up. In the story, these people are just called sick people, but it's highly possible that they had leprosy. Leprosy has existed in Japan since the Muromachi period, which is also the setting for Princess Mononoke. During that time, the disease spread through a large region. Leprosy is a contagious and dangerous skin disease caused by Mycobacterium leprae. Because of how it alters those infected with it, it led to severe discrimination against those infected with it as well as their families. On a side note, in 1907 Japan, a law that forcibly isolates leprosy patients was passed. Since then, this law has been amended multiple times, but the policy to isolate patients still continued. In 1947, the drug Promin was discovered, and it helped cure the disease completely. Despite the existence of a cure, Japanese government continued to spread the false idea that leprosy was highly infectious, and unnecessary quarantine measures were still common for nearly 50 years until the law was repealed in 1996. Due to the national policies, Japanese society maintained the wrong ideas and beliefs about the disease, leading to discrimination against patients and their families. The problem still continues to the present. In some of the film interviews, director Hayao Miyazaki discussed how he wants to increase public attention to the disease through animation. We can definitely assume that those isolated and bandaged characters in the film are infected with leprosy. Some even say that Tatara-ba is in fact an isolation facility for lepers. Why there are no children in Tataraba? You might have noticed that Tataraba doesn't have any children. We often see scenes in Ghibli movies where children run around the mountains and fields. But for some reason, there are no children in Tataraba. In an interview with director Hayao Miyazaki, he said he deliberately separated the women characters from the typical image of women needing to be protected by a man, or the image of a woman as a mother of children. Tataraba is also a place in constant conflict, even to the point where the villagers have to fight the god of the mountains. Given this situation, it might not be ideal to raise children there. Miyazaki added that children will be born eventually in Tataraba, indicating it is not yet the time. About women in Tataraba. The women in Tataraba are all bright and positive. You might also be touched by their unexpectedly positive attitude despite being in the middle of a war. We can also see that there are many scenes where they are united with their community while still being able to joke with the men around them. The women in the village also seem stronger than the men. However, the women were actually once victims of human trafficking. There are also some subtle hints that when they were finally sold, Lady Eboshi took over them. Viewers might also find it hard to believe that they had such a past because of their positive outlook in life. They were probably saved by Lady Eboshi, making her their most respected member. The past of Lady Eboshi. Lady Eboshi is the female leader of Tataraba. Unlike the main characters Ashitaka and San, her background is never fully revealed in the film. However, a note from director Hayao Miyazaki revealed that she has an outrageous origin story. She used to be the wife of a Japanese pirate who was sold to China. However, she eventually took over the organization that bought her and she returned to Japan with Chinese weapons. Because she has gone through many trials, she was able to gain a lot of charisma. Lady Eboshi is a strong female character who is not afraid of God and was able to break free from the world ruled by the samurai. Why did Ashitaka remain in Tataraba? At the end of the story, there is a scene where the main character, Ashitaka, says that he will remain in Tataraba. You might think, why doesn't Ashitaka return to his own village? Although it's not obviously explained, Ashitaka has actually been expelled from his village due to the curse on his arm. In the story, the village elder gently advises him to go on a journey. However, it was a way for them to expel Ashitaka, because they believed those who were cursed would bring calamities to the village. Even if the curse was lifted, Ashitaka has nowhere else to go to. Through his journey, Tataraba has become the only place he belongs to. There are many people in Tataraba, such as the sold women and lepers, who have also been isolated from the rest of society. By living among them, Ashitaka must have realized that everyone living there treats each other equally, and despite their circumstances in life, they can live with each other in a civil way. It is up to the viewers to imagine what Ashitaka's life would be like among the villagers, but we can assume that he can get along with them well.